A good afternoon to you. I hope your Thursday afternoon is going on well. My name is Olive Burrows and this is NTV at One, your 1 p.m. news update. President Uhuru Kenyatta is at this hour at the National Security Industries in Ruiru in Kiambu County to commission a small arms factory expected to address Kenya's need for arms. The project is also poised to enhance security capabilities and establish a sustainable national security industrial base. Nayoma Sampal has been covering that event, and let's listen in to her now as she briefs us on what has transpired.
Well, Olive, as you've stated clearly, we are here at the small arms factory, and of course you expect to see the president since he's the one commissioning the project. But apparently the president is in another room where we're not allowed to take pictures there, but he will be here where we are in a short while. In a few minutes he'll be here. Now this particular project is the small arms factory will be manufacturing weapons, small weapons like rifles, pistols, and these since independence, Kenya has been importing firearms, but now with this project, Kenya will be able to be making firearms on their own, and they're projecting that in 1 year they will be able to be making pistols, assault rifles, and in 5 years the project will be able to be supplying Kenyan security agencies with personal weapons and will be able to meet all the security demands in the country. They also project that in 5 years, they will be able to produce other things like weapons, and they will be able to commensurate investment in equipment, machinery, and human capital. Now, at the moment, we are not able to manufacture our own weapons, and what is there is that there are factories which assemble security weapons, but with the establishment of these factories, Kenya will be able to be manufacturing, and that will cut a lot on the cost used to import the weapons. So it will really save the economy, especially now that the country is already struggling. Now, at the moment, Kenya is only able to manufacture 12,000 assault rifles annually on a single shift, but that is set to improve in about 1 year. We will be able to see some developments. As now what you're seeing on your screens are just pictures of the kind of equipment that are in the factory. Those are the kind of pictures you're seeing. We may not be really able to explain to you people what every equipment does, but immediately the president comes here, we will be able to understand fully the functions of every equipment, and we will be able to tell you. But right now, as it stands, Olive, let me bring it back to you. Then later on, we will be giving you a more detailed report. Back to you, Olive.
All right. Thank you, Nayoma. She promised to file a more comprehensive report a little later, and I'm sure she'll keep her word. A harmonized report on the BBI bill may be introduced in both houses of Parliament on Tuesday next week. The Joint Justice and Legal Affairs Committees of both houses are to meet on Friday for final touches before presenting the bill to both speakers of Parliament. NTV has learnt of plans to have both houses of Parliament call a special sitting this coming Tuesday when the leadership of both houses is reported to have met President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga separately. Sources tell us that the two leaders have given a nod to the report being tabled in Parliament without any further delay and without changes as had been prescribed by some MPs. Though the Senate special sitting has been christened as one to debate the Division of Revenue Bill and the swearing-in of the new Garissa Senator Abdul Haji, there is a likelihood that the chairperson of the JLAC committee, and that is the Nyamira Senator Okongo Omogeni, will introduce the committee report. Earlier this week, the National Assembly Majority Leader Amos Kimunya alluded to the special sitting next week.
Both speakers.
To health matters now, and the Health Professional Association has rejected in totality the Health Laws Amendment Bill 2021. The association accuses Parliament and the Ministry of Health of colluding to use the bill to oust them from control and management of the health sector.
hereby reject the entire Health Laws Amendment Bill 2021 and call upon the Cabinet Secretary to withdraw the proposed amendments. This bill seeks to deny health professionals their democratic representation and stakeholder-driven practice, and therefore hinders effectiveness of health regulatory bodies. Having a majority of non-professionals in a regulator makes it impossible to govern health professions within the confines of ethical practice. This will pose great risk to public health and well-being of our citizens.
The Pharmacy and Poisons Board has been running the second year now without a board. So who is providing emergency authorization for Sputnik vaccine in this country if there's no board? If there are no board minutes, who is approving these vaccines to be used in the country? Is it the Cabinet Secretary? Yeah? Who is going to protect our leaders, the CEO and his directors at the Pharmacy and Poisons Board? Who is going to protect him against the pressure, yeah? The negative pressure from, we know business people have interests.
Activist Edwin Kiama, who was arrested over the wide circulation of a controversial poster of President Uhuru Kenyatta and foreign loans, has been released on a $500,000 shillings cash bail, that is 500,000 shillings, and ordered not to post anything on the internet about government borrowing. Senior resident magistrate Jane Kamau also ordered Kiama to report to the investigating officer daily for the next 10 days. A request by police to hold Kiama for another 14 days was denied, with the magistrate saying that all the police need in beefing up their investigation is online. Rather, to beef up the investigation is online. Police will, however, hold his laptop, phone and other electronic gadgets as investigations continue. Kiama was arraigned for a portrait he made of President Uhuru Kenyatta with the message that he was not authorized to borrow on behalf of the people of Kenya. The activist has been asked to respect the presidency as an institution, and the matter will be mentioned on April the 20th to confirm the progress of the probe.
Has considered all the outlined policy directives regarding bond being granted. It is therefore reasonable. Number 3, for clarity, should the respondent be unable to raise the bond terms issued, he shall be detained by the investigating officer at Central Police Station until the mention of the case.
Two matters: trade and the relationship between Kenya and the U.S. after the U.S. advised its citizens not to travel to Kenya on account of COVID-19. Now, this is to do with trade, and the government has sought to allay fears that the trade deal between Kenya and the USA is facing a threat from the new administration of President Joe Biden, even as the U.S. government says it is currently reviewing the progress of the talks in alignment with the Biden-Harris administration priorities. In a government statement dated April the 8th, 2021, the government indicates that Kenya and the United States held virtual talks on April the 1st on trade relations between the two countries, following up on the free trade agreement negotiations that have been going on since last year. The government says the new U.S. administration of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris is keen to support the increased contribution of developing countries to the global economy, particularly with the growing need for Kenya and the U.S. to be guided by a robust trade policy. Kenya and the U.S. launched trade negotiations on 8th July 2020 and have conducted 2 rounds of discussion. So the government of Kenya seeking to allay fears that those trade talks are not under threat following the assumption of office of President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. 2 matters: education. Now, and the Ministry of Education insists that the integrity of the ongoing Kenya Certificate of Secondary School exams remains unquestionable amid reports that some tests may have been leaked. Principal Secretary Julius Juan says any exam papers that may be circulating are not the actual test. He was speaking in Limuru, where he officiated the administration of today's exams.
who are circulating fake papers 2 days, a day earlier, and telling parents and telling teachers and telling learners that they have the exams, they should know that these papers are fake. You saw the ones that were doing rounds and we saw they were fake. And fortunately, a few of those people who are circulating those fake papers have been arrested by our multi-agency. You have seen some of them have been taken to court. Normally, the exam is thoroughly sealed. The security features that we put in the seal are so tight that there's no way somebody can access it before it leaves the container. As you have seen the cartons, first of all, the container is opened when we are all here. At least several people, including the media. The container is opened by 2 people, the DCC and the Sub-County Director of Education.
Senior citizens in West Pokot County are calling on the government to initiate mobile COVID-19 vaccination facilities to accommodate the elderly who may not be able to reach vaccination centers. The county's Senior Citizens Welfare Association says more than half of the older population have not received a single dose of the vaccine. Neither have they been booked for a vaccination appointment. This, the association says, is because many can't reach vaccination centers. The association is asking government through local administrators to collect data on the elderly population and administer the vaccines at the comfort of their homes.
Hawautembe wamechechema wamekuwa nini? Kitu kizuri ni kuokoa hawa wakiwa vijijini. Na kama naweza kupeleka masista sawa madaktari kwenda kwa kijiji itakuwa sawa. Ama iwe karibu na sehemu yao waweze kuletwa na pikipiki katika kila sub-ward ama ward, ndio itakuwa inafikia watu kuokoa maisha ya hawa watu wazima ambao walifanya kazi, waliojenga nchi mpaka wakati wa leo ambao imeinuka.
The Kenya National Highways Authority is calling on public and cargo transporters to observe highway carriage limits in an effort to reduce damage on roads. KENHA is currently developing virtual weigh bridges which are unmanned stations, and they have developed at least 10 and 13 more are being constructed as a way of ensuring sanity and compliance for axle load. All vehicles weighing above 3.5 tons are required to pass through weigh bridges along the highways, and any overload of above 10 tons attracts a penalty.
Developing virtual weigh bridges. These are unmanned stations. Currently 10 are operational. In the next 1 or 2 months we'll have another 13 stations coming on board. So we'll have 23 in total virtual stations to ensure that everybody who does transport of goods and such within the country, either the goods are being transported domestically or internationally, you have to be within the limits specified by law.
Police are in pursuit of a Ugandan farmhand employed in Muranga's Kandara constituency who allegedly killed his 56-year-old employer and escaped. The deceased's family discovered the body of the man, identified as Kinywa Masharia, buried inside a cow dung pit at his home. The deceased, who had head injuries, is alleged to have been killed at night and his body then dumped inside the pit. A hammer was found beside his body and a wheelbarrow believed to have been used to ferry his body to the pit. Police are treating the farmhand as the main suspect in the murder, and before the gruesome murder, the deceased had sold a cow, which the family believes might be the reason he met his death.
Wanaweka baka nini watu kwa simu waza niangalia kwa sababu hapa wote nilikuwa naangalia huko wote, nikakuja nikaona hii mjibi hapa, nikaambia kijana kuja waangalie kama ndio huyu. Kijana akakuja akafanya hivyo, akaniambia ndio huyu.
Amegongwa ni kama alimgonga kichwa, jua kuna damu mingi kwa uso. Venye nimemuona huyo kijana mwenye alimua alikuwa mfanyikazi, alikuwa ameajiriwa kuchunga ng'ombe. Alikuwa ameuza ng'ombe, ni ya shamba sijui. Lakini ya ng'ombe alikuwa ameuza ng'ombe. Sijui kama hizo pesa ndizo zilimfanya amuue.
Sisi tunamjua kama msee mzuri, sisi tunamjua kama mchungaji wa watu, mchungaji wa Mungu. Kwa hivyo hatuna venye tunaweza kumchukia hata kusema ati makosa yake. Kwa hivyo ni mtu mtulivu, ni mtu wa watu, ni mtu tunapenda na ni mtu mzuri.
More news reports waiting for you on the other side of this break.
What is family? Family is a solid foundation to build on and a strong pillar to lean on. It is believing in each one of us for the betterment of all of us. Family is working together today to win together tomorrow. It is creating opportunities for a lifetime of happiness. It is knowing we are valued, respected, understood, and most of all, supported. The future is bright because you can always bank on family. Family Bank, with you for life.
Soil Merchants Properties have incredible offers for prime residential plots in Kisamis along Magadi Road, a few minutes from the vibrant Kiserian town. Get 1/8 acre plot in phase 2 from Kenya shillings 145,000, price inclusive of transferred title deed. The plots are near Olepolos Country Club with borehole water and electricity available. Schools and health facilities are nearby. Welcome to our open day on 10th April 2021. SMS plots to 21595 for inquiries. Don't miss out on this great investment opportunity to invest in your future.
Like every mom, you want the best for your child.
Happy birthday.
You make sure she knows the joy of sharing happy moments with family. And when everything comes together, you above all others will share the taste of success with her. Blue Band tastes like mama's love.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
At the first sign of pain, you need a solution that you can trust to provide effective relief and is gentle on the stomach. Try Panadol Advance for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Advance. This has been Medifax for Panadol.
Thank you for staying with us on NTV at One. I start with a press statement that's just been released by the Media Council of Kenya. And the council says, and I quote, that they've learned with sadness the unfortunate death of one Ms. Betty Barasa, a senior video editor with the Kenya Broadcast Corporation, KBC. The council expresses its deepest condolences to family, friends and colleagues. The council condemns the violent act that resulted in her untimely death yesterday at her home in Ololua area in Ngong. The statement continues to read that accordingly, the council calls for expeditious investigations into the incident with a view to having the culprits apprehended and prosecuted. The statement continues to state that the MCK wishes to note that while the cause of her death is now the subject of a police inquiry, acts of violence against journalists and media practitioners are unacceptable and a violation of press freedom as provided for under Article 35 and Article 34 and Article 35 of the Constitution. To matters conservation now, and conservationists in Molo are urging locals to plant more trees in a bid to conserve the larger Mao water catchment area, which has been degraded by human activity. The Molo Constituency Forest Association has planted over 200 trees along the Molo River ahead of the short rains. The initiative seeks to avert further crisis on the lower side of the stream during the long rain season that usually results in flooding, destruction of property and loss of lives. Communities have also been called upon to conserve the environment and protect water catchment areas to avert adverse effects of climate change. Molo River feeds Lake Baringo, and during the long rains, communities living along the river in Mohotio, Rongai and Baringo are affected by the floods.
Ni jukumu letu tuone ya kwamba mambo ya mazingira tumewekea maanani, na sana sana upanzi wa miti, kwa sababu miti ndio inatengeneza hewa inakuwa safi. Tunajua ya kwamba nchi hii ikiwa ya kwamba kuna carbon nyingi, hatuwezi kuwa tunaishi maisha mazuri. Tutakuwa ya kwamba tunaudhika, tunakuwa wagonjwa.
Let's take a look at what's happening away from Kenya's borders. And Djibouti's President Ismail Omar Guelleh is expected to be re-elected leader of the tiny Horn of Africa nation when the country heads to the polls on Friday. Guelleh wrapped up his campaign on Wednesday with a colorful final rally in a stadium packed with cheering supporters and traditional dancers. The 73-year-old is facing political newcomer Zakaria Ismail Farah, his only rival, after traditional opposition parties decided to boycott the election. A businessman specialized in the importation of cleaning products, 56-year-old Farah is seen by observers as unlikely to pose a significant challenge to the strongman who has been in power for 22 years. Djibouti is a largely desert country strategically situated on one of the world's busiest trade routes and at the crossroads between Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, a short distance from war-torn Yemen. Rwandan President Paul Kagame has welcomed a report concluding that France bears overwhelming responsibility over the 1994 genocide in his country. A commission established by French President Emmanuel Macron said last month that France had remained blind, and that's a quote, to preparations for the mass killings of some 800,000 Rwandans, mainly from the ethnic Tutsi minority.
We welcome this report because it marks an important step toward a common understanding of what took place. It also marks the change. It shows the desire, the decades-long effort by certain French officials to cover up their responsibilities has caused significant damage. History was falsified by promoting the lie of the so-called double genocide, including with the mapping report. Rwanda will also have a word to say in the near future. In fact, it is maybe around the third week of this month.
It's whip fast, obeys commands, and doesn't leave unpleasant surprises on the floor. This is the Alpha Dog, a robotic response to two of China's burgeoning loves, pets and technology. The high-tech hound uses sensors and artificial intelligence technology to hear and see its environment and can even be taken for walks. The Nanjing-based creators say that their robot dog, which moves at a speed of almost 15 kilometers per hour and spins on the spot like an exciting excited puppy is the fastest on the market. As China seeks to upskill its workforce, Beijing has been making huge investments in robotics and AI. Robots are already used to deliver parcels, serve in restaurants, and offer information at stations, even take throat swabs for COVID-19 tests.